So let me grab my box and I will get out all my goodies and show you what it is we're using. So I will be using, this is the Card Deco Essentials die set with the squares, and I'm going to be using this lovely little pierced one and one further in. I have, well, I haven't even got it out the thing yet. I have this gorgeous Stamperia decoupage paper. I think, bear with me, I've got it written down. It's called, I think it's called Romantic Christmas Birds. But it is a beautiful rice paper. I love these kind of big backgrounds. If I can get it out, because they are so versatile. You can use little bits, you can cut bits out, or you can use it as a whole. So that's our lovely rice paper. We are also going to be using the Elizabeth Crafts pinecone and bow to create this little go on here, and then I've just used the Creative Expressions Merry Christmas die there for a little sentiment. So we are going to need a canvas, and it's just, this is nothing special. This is just one from one of those kind of cheapy type shops. It's nothing special, but I am going to just trim that little bit there because that is going to annoy me. Okay. Now, I don't even, because it's a pre-primed canvas, I don't even need to think about gessoing it either. So, first thing I'm going to do is to decide where I want to place this. And I am going to have a look. I'm not necessarily going to go with what I did before, but roughly that, because of the way the placement of the dies work. Now, I am going to, once I've done that, I'm just going to turn it over and I am going to mark it with a pencil, because I want a little bit of overlap, because I'm going to just wrap the rice paper around the back. And even though it's quite flimsy, it's really easy to cut the rice papers with a trimmer. So, oh, it's stuck in there. I'm going to just slide this in and cut that down and across here. Now, if I was just taking pieces out of the rice paper, I've got them in the right place. I would not be using a trimmer. I would be using water and going around the pieces that I wanted, and then pulling them out. But because I'm wrapping it round, it's not such a problem. Now, keep these pieces I have used. I'm not going to do it now for speed of time, but I put both of these onto white card. One that allowed me to cut these bits out, which we'll do later, and then this one I cut the sentiment on the lighter part. So I'm not going to do that because I want to save those, because I don't need to use those. Don't want to waste them. So here is our rice paper and our stencil. And excuse me just while I grab my decoupage glue, which I've got in a little pot here. And I have a really old brush that I use for gluing. It's you know, very gnarly, but it does the job. So I'm just going to put the decoupage glue on the back of the rice paper. Trying to cover, doesn't need to be like thick, but try to cover most of it. Might feel like it's getting fragile, but rice paper is really quite tough. If you can probably pick up on the camera, these bits here, they're like slubs. It's made of lots of fibres that are sort of squashed together, and it really is quite tough. I'm also going to put a bit on my canvas, but also I'm going to put some along the sides, because I want to wrap this rice paper right the way round, and it will need something to stick onto. Lean that there, and pick up my rice paper, and we're going to just position that over the top of the canvas. And then going to go over it with a bit more glue. Always start with rice papers, brush from the middle to the outside. And that way you get rid of any air bubbles that are in there. And it helps, particularly if you're doing small pieces where you've ripped them out of the rice paper and you've got the fibres on the edge, it helps to keep those smooth. It's not such an issue on a canvas or a large piece like this. So I am now just bending these round and just gluing them. I don't want to put this down because the front is obviously a bit wet, quite wet. So I'm just gluing, and rice paper is really quite bendable, so you can get those bits round. Oh, come on, let's pull that bit round there. Don't think I've got glue in the right place on here. I'm all a bit thumbs today. There you go. Now I'm probably, because I'm putting so much glue on the back, I'm probably going to end up gluing my canvas to my board in a minute, but not to worry. You will get to see how to do it, and then you will know not to do it yourself. Okay. Now in reality, I'd probably leave this to dry a little while before I started doing anything on the front. But for time, we were going to have to press on. But I am going to put it to one side for a moment. Thing with the decoupage glue, it dries pretty quickly on this. You can see it will just rub off. So it shouldn't be, but never mind. It shouldn't be gluing anything to my board. So I'm just going to put that in there. Now, as I said, when I created the original, I stuck the wide piece down onto a piece of card, and I stuck the thinner piece as well. I'm just going to cut the bottom, and these are now lovely and dry, so they are really good to die cut. So we will die cut out our little bits, get that job out of the way, and then we're going to focus on how we make our pine cones. So this is the Card Deco Essential Set. I am not using the lovely outside. I'm going to be using that in a project later. I'm going to use this one. Now this, I need to use this and this one because I want to cut, you see here, I want to cut it as a frame. I don't want it as a whole mat. So again, I'm going to work out where I want to place this in terms of, do I want it light? Do I want it dark? A bit of light, I think. So I'm going to cut that. And I need a little bit of low-tack tape. Oh, didn't want to come off. A bit of low-tack tape to keep this in place. And I might as well run my sentiment die through on this one at the same time. If I can find it, it's in with my pine cones, isn't it? It's in here. So I'm going to run that through on here. Might seem a bit of a waste, but these little bits, other bits can be. I really want a light area to allow us to have the sort of highlight of the text, and for it to sort of also blend in with the background. So we're going to run those through both together. My cutting mat, put both of those on. Oh, here we go. My plate, my shim, sorry, and we go. Ooh, sticking myself together here, and off through the Gemini. Okay. There we go. That's through. Take that out for the moment. We're going to cut again bear with me in a moment. Need my brush cleaner. Put that aside. Take this one out. There you go. So you can see I've now got my inner here and I've got my frame here. So in one pass, I have got both of those pieces and I have my die on there. So my die, my sentiment. Let's put that to one side for now. Okay, so those two bits are cut. I've got my sentiment, which I'm just, I will if I can find my pokey tool. Going to pop that out. I already have one sentiment, one of the sentiments cut out because I've layered it several times there. I've already gone ahead and done that, so we're not. This one you can see will be on one on the top. So we'll put those safely there. Let's see if I remember where they are later. And we are now going to focus on making these pine cones. Okay, so this is using Elizabeth Craft Design Garden Notes. I'm presuming it says WITW. I'm presuming it means white pine, pine cone and bough. Now they are little dies. You've got a large leaf, a small leaf. This bit is the base on which you build your pine cone, and here are all your the bits that you're going to use to build up your pine cones. Okay, so I've already cut a few. I am going to cut some more, but I have already cut a few because you do need more than one pass to make your pine cones. So it's the sort of thing if you know you're going to be making this kind of thing, when you put other dies through, you can always just pass your die through with it. Now, I need to find myself a piece of craft card, which I don't seem to have. Just bear with me a moment. Bear with me a moment. I'm not sure what's happened there. Oh, here we go. No. 2 secs. Here we go. Piece of craft card out my box. Cut some of these, but I also want some leaves to be cut, so I need some white stamping card. Again, let me get that in my box. Now, I'm not going to need a whole sheet of each, so I'm going to cut, just because I'm going to show you how these dies cut. I'm just going to cut this through once. Let's cut a little bit out there. Scissors. So I'll cut that across. So this will be a base to build your pine cone on, and this will be some more of the parts for the pine cone. Now for the leaves, I wanted to try to tone the leaves in with all these lovely sort of almost greyish greens that we've got running through here. So I decided that I would create an inky sort of blend and cut from that. So let's put those out of the way. I have a few already cut, so I'm just going to make enough for one more. So I'm just going to cut this, so that we're not wasting card we don't need to use. So I am going to take my iced spruce. Very good. Very aptly named these. My ice spruce and evergreen bough. Perfect for my lovely little winter scene here. And we are going to use I've got the wrong, excuse me, I've got the wrong end of there for that one. The brushes. And if you use brushes, I think people use them in different ways, but I don't have a brush for every colour. I have 3 or 4 brushes for each sort of colour group. So all I'm doing is putting a little bit of the colour down and I'm just going to add a bit of the evergreen bough, blend it in. You can see because it's nice and wet, it's all blending in. And I don't mind the fact that it's not even, because all we're doing is we're die cutting out of it, and I kind of want that kind of variegated kind of colour there. So I'm getting inky fingers, which I'm now putting all over this, but not to worry. Hopefully, I'll wipe my hands in a moment. Okay, and I am just going to give this, put these lids back on. I am just going to give this a quick blast with the heat gun before we stick this through the machine. Okay, it's dried it a little bit. I just will need to make sure once I pass it through the machine that I haven't left any ink on the machine, and I will need to clean that off. So bear with me, my hands are very, very dirty. Putting ink everywhere. I don't know why I'm worried, because I normally do. So, right, so I'm going to pass this one through, cut out some more, there we go. That's what I'm looking for, low tack tape. Those two to cut some more bits for pine cone. And then we've got our two pieces for our foliage. So, my plates again. And just quick, right, I'm going to make sure this is really stuck. The trouble when you just ink something, and even though I have passed it through my, with my, blasted it with my heat gun, sometimes the low tack tape doesn't like to stick to the top of that ink because it's not quite dry. So extra bit of tape in there, and let's pass that through. Okay. Right, there we go, that's done. So I was just tidying up a little bit because I know I need that die set shortly, and I'm going to be looking for it. I'm just checking. Actually, not too bad. Let me just give that a quick wipe over so I don't get green ink on everything next time. And oh, now you can see these dies cut really well, and you can see they're already come out. Now, when I first did this, I was like, oh, how am I going to know which size is which? Do you know what? It didn't matter. Once I started going, I could pick out the little ones, and actually it didn't matter if some of the little ones were up the top and some of the bigger ones were at the bottom. So literally, I'm just going to put them in a pile and put my plate there. And oh, more foliage. These a little encourage out. And there it goes. Okay, and there we go. That comes out too. So that's your base. These are all your little bits. Okay, and I'm going to put those in with the bits I've already cut, so they're ready to go. And we are going to make a pine cone. Now, I found that the best thing to use for this is 3D glue gel. It is really, really flexible. The other thing I would say, and I'm going to completely not do this because I've forgotten to bring it. When I was doing this, I was thinking, oh, it would be really useful to get you know, freezer paper that we used to die cut with. Some people, I still die cut with it. To just put this on, because otherwise you end up with a lot of 3D glue gel everywhere. So I am going to just use a little bit of card. As you'll see, it does get a little bit fiddly, but we're going to go for it. So I don't personally think that there is a right way up of this. It is just whichever way you decide. I also need my little wax pencil that I use for applying embellishments. That is invaluable. And I just start by putting glue gel, and this is the bottom. If you can see on here, you start at the bottom and layer over the top. It's a bit like the old-fashioned way that house roofs were tiled. You start at the bottom and work your way up. So I I'm not bothered. I'm sure you know that with craft cards, there's kind of two sort of tones on either side. I'm not even bothered which way up they are. It doesn't matter because it all adds to the kind of variation for your pine cone. So I am just looking for the smaller ones, and I am literally taking one and just pushing it onto the glue gel. Okay, and I'm forming a little layer around the bottom. And at the moment, I'm not too worried about the overall shape because this stuff doesn't dry very quickly. And once you've got more layers on, you can see how the shape of your pine cone is going. Okay, so let's get some more. And you just, as you can see, this one's gone over the top here. So it's overlapping. So I'm just going to pick up. And also don't worry about whether they're round the right way. I really don't think it's you know, unless you like to be botanically accurate, I really don't think it's going to be an issue. So I've done the bottom layer, so I'm just turning it round and I'm just putting another squidge of the glue gel on. And then I'm going to go back and might use some slightly bigger ones now as we're coming down. Again, it is really random and strangely therapeutic. I did when I was first working with it, I was thinking, oh, stressful, all these little bits. But actually, I've really enjoyed making them. And not only that, they look so effective. It's worth making the effort. And it's also very therapeutic. It's kind of one of those, well, I wouldn't say it's a mindful activity, but it just kind of just makes your brain focus in on one thing. So I've done that layer, turn it round, and I'm going to put some more glue gel there. And oops, there we go. You see, this is what I mean. These things slide around and you end up with glue gel, or I did when I was making the samples. You end up with glue gel everywhere. So let's see, let's go with this one. And you can see already that the shape of the pine cone is coming together really nicely. Oh, well, that one's got a bit of glue on it. Yeah, just next layer going in. And, you know, at this point, you can kind of see the shape that's forming. And you might just want to sort of, with your fingers, just shape it round if you're not happy with the way it's looking. Okay, so again, I'm going to need another bit of glue gel in here, and probably if I can, I'll put that right to the top. There we go. Oh, it slides. Oh, there we go. And that's what I kept doing yesterday, getting glue gel everywhere. Okay, now you can see I have now way more little bits than I need. And so these will just go back in my pot, ready for the next time that I need to make some pine cones. And I will not need to cut quite so many. There we go. And another one here. Again, it's all about just, and there is no right or wrong. I mean, if you look at pine cones in nature, none of them will be the same. And they'll all have their own little quirks in their shape, in their size. There we go. So, a finished pine cone. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these bits away. I'm going to take my foliage out. I'm going to put these back in because I am not going to waste those. Those will be put away for another project, another time. There we go. Along with that extra base I've now got. A lid on those so they don't fall out. And because once you see me make one, you don't really need to see me make three. I have two that I've made in advance yesterday. So now it's a case of assembling. Now the one thing I haven't done that I did here, was to use some of this card, the green card, to cut another layer for the sentiment. And I'm not gonna worry about that for today. But you get the idea. So I've got my bits here. I have in my pack. Oh, she said. Maybe I don't. I'm sure I had a. If I can't find it, it's not the end of the world. We can just go with the one where it might irritate me enough that I do it. Let's see. Let's get going on putting the things together first. So the first thing I did was to is that the right way? Was to position this. And I positioned it so it looked like the bird was perched on the bottom of this frame. And then I put this one in, and I am kind of looking at what I did. I've obviously cut it slightly different, but that's okay. And that one can then go in there. Okay, so obviously I need to stick this one first. So I'm going to take that out, and I'm going to get some glue onto that. And we'll stick that one down, and I can almost guarantee that I've already forgotten which way around I was going to do it, so we'll have to fiddle again. Get some glue on the back. So which way around was it? I think it was about there. So I'm going to slot that underneath, about there. Yeah, that'll do. So I'm going to stick that down. Now, bear in mind, my canvas is still slightly damp from the decoupage glue. Okay, so if you can give it time to dry thoroughly, it's always worth doing that. And then I'm going to add glue around here. And which way around do I want? There, I think. And get that little bird just perching on the edge of the frame. Okie dokie. Right, so we'll worry about the sentiment in a minute, and I'm going to decide whether I can go with just that. I can't go with just that, but we'll worry about it in a moment. Hey-ho. Right, so I have I've cut these out now 3 times. We tend to talk a lot about the rule of thirds in crafting, but it's also like that in nature. You tend to use odd numbers when you're planting things out. So I've gone for 3. So I am not going to stick them completely flat down, and I am going to use 3D glue gel because we're going to be sort of building stuff up. So I am going to just decide how I want to arrange these. Yeah, I'll just go over there. That's what said that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a bit of glue gel there. Oops. No, not for you. For you. And a bit there. It doesn't matter if I go back over these. Oh, dear. All fingers and thumbs now. And I'm going to put that one on the top there. So I've got my 3 there. And then I'm going to fill in a little bit on the gaps on there with the smaller ones. The last smaller one I'll put on once I've got the cones on, and it will come down here. Now, this one's the wet one, so I'm going to leave that one till last, and I'm going to arrange 2 here. So I need to put glue gel here over the top of where those leaves meet, and here again. And then this one, right now, this is where you really want to let them all dry because this is now going to move, but not to worry. Oh dear, catching everything here. I'm going to put some glue gel kind of here. I want this to be tipping forward in like that so that when you see it, it's kind of poking out. Okay, so now I'm going to just squirt a bit of glue gel up there, and then I'm going to, whoop, right way around would be good. Just going to poke that one in there, and there's my 3 pine cones and all my foliage. Now, problem with the foliage. Bear with me a moment. I'm just going to look in my box because I thought I had already cut out a I think there we go. I did. I've already cut out one in the craft card. It's a bit stuck in there. Can we get away with just that in the craft card? Do we need the green as well? I think we can get away with that in this one. Okay, so I'm just getting a bit of scrap card in, and I'm going to grab my tweezers. Same way I always do sentiments. So I'm going to grab the sentiment, turn it over, my glue, and I'm going to dab my glue on the back in various pieces, just making sure I know that the main parts are going to stick. And because obviously this is a lot of glue, and if I was just to put it straight on there, it will squish. I'm just going to kind of blot it off on here before I add it to the canvas. And then I am going to do the same. This is the one we cut out from from the rice paper that we stuck down. So, ooh, see, I've got another pair of tweezers there. Okay, these seem to be a bit bent. That's okay, a bit like me. All right. Okay, there we go. And got that off. And then just going to offset off of the craft card just to give it a little bit of a drop shadow. So the only thing different that I didn't do on this is to cut that out of the green. But there you have your winter canvas. Now, that could equally be done on card. So you may maybe get a really thin piece of grey board, do this whole same process on the grey board, and then mount it onto a Christmas card or on the top of a box. So it doesn't have to be a canvas. You can use exactly the same processes on other sort of things.